Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Today we're going to answer the question, how do I prepare for an extreme cold power outage? I'm going to share with you 25 tips for doing that exact same thing. And at the end, I'm going to show you 10 pieces of gear that will help you get through a dead of winter blackout. Number one, don't panic. No matter how stressed out you are, whether this is your first winter or your 41st winter, whether you've just moved here or you're an old hand, and it's calling for really, really cold weather, don't panic. Take a breath, sit down, gather your thoughts, make a plan, and then tackle whatever you have to do. Prepare as much as possible ahead of time. Not just plan, but execute that plan. Make sure everything is put together, have your blankets out, have an evacuation plan. Prepare as much as you can ahead of time, and you're gonna be less prone to panic during some sort of bad cold event. Do an interior and an exterior inspection of your home. What does that mean? Walk around the outside, see if there's any gaps where the cold air can get in. Look for missing pieces of siding, look for broken windows, look for something that you might trip over if you got to go out and blow the snow. Know where your water shutoffs are, inside and outside. Down south, where things are a lot warmer, you can probably get the outdoor at the curb shutoff and shut that off. Also, know inside. Do you know where your main water shutoff is? Because if anything freezes and you have water spraying somewhere, you need to know how to turn things off. Find out where your warming stations are. If you don't know, call your local town council. If you don't have any, make other plans. But it should be on the radio, should be on the internet. If you happen to live in a mobile home, pile straw or snow up against the skirting. What you really want to do is build an air barrier so that cold wind and breeze, when it's really, really cold, can't blow in and under the belly of your trailer. Charge all your devices. Make sure all your phones are fully charged. Don't let them get down below 50%. That way, if you need them in an emergency, you're not having to ration the power because you didn't plug it in. Leave your water running just a bit. You might say, well, that's going to waste water. I promise you, it's going to waste way less water than if your pipes rupture and spray everywhere. It's going to keep the water flowing, and it's going to have to get to much colder before they burst. Have an evacuation plan in place. When are you going to do it? At what temperature? How long? Where are you going to go? Do you have a warming center nearby? Do you know how to turn off the power? Do you know how to turn off the water to your home? Do you know how to turn off the gas? Download your local emergency management app, download your local power and gas utility app, or have a radio. In other words, have a way to get information just in case. Run your generator and your snow removal gear. Again, you want to make sure that your generator is going to run before the cold weather gets here. The last thing you want to do is have a house that's getting colder by the minute and coming outside trying to figure out how to run your generator. Top up your vehicle in generator fuel ahead of time. Go out before the power's out. Fill up whatever jerry cans you have if you can afford it. Get yourself some fuel for your generator. If you see a long range forecast of 4 or 5 days down the road and it's getting really cold, make sure you fuel up every day. Have a carbon monoxide detector. No matter what, when you're trying to heat things, trying to power things, in the winter with backup options, there's always the chance of carbon monoxide poisoning. So make sure you have something that will detect it. Test it every so often, replace it when it expires. Clear an area for your generator to run in the wintertime. And that means beforehand, keep in mind all winter, where am I going to run my generator? And when you clear off your decks and your walkways and all of that, take 5 minutes to shovel out or snow blow it so that you have a nice, flat, easy area to run your generator. Charge your power banks and your power station. Make sure all of your little individual battery banks are charged up and your power stations. Plug them in the night before. Better yet, plug them in a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to make sure you have all that stored juice. Clear a path to and from your home for transporting your generator. I had ran into this a couple of years ago. I ended up having to chip away all the ice on my back gate because it was froze solid. I knew there was a chance of a power outage coming up and I wanted to make sure I was ready. So I ended up having to clear a really bad path. Hang comforters up in the windows and doorways. So if you want to create a space that you can keep heat in, take extra blankets, comforters, hang them up in your doorways, hang them up in your windows. Dress in layers. Again, it's easier to keep your body warm than it is to keep an entire home warm. And if you start sweating, take layers off until you stop sweating. Extra bedding. That's really simple, guys. But again, if you can't heat your home, pull out all your extra blankets, even if they're up in some crawl space somewhere. Make sure you have lots of bedding to keep yourself warm while you sleep. If you can afford it, have backup ways to heat. If you live in an area where wood's plentiful and you don't heat with wood, get yourself a wood stove a long time ahead of time. Now, it could be too late for that right now, but get yourself a propane heater. But cook with your barbecue or your camping stove. Again, make it fun, but keep your door shut while you're doing it for multiple reasons, but mainly just to keep the heat in. But if you're hungry, you want something hot, if you need a warm meal, There's something about getting warm that makes you feel better. If it's really bad, just keep one room warm. If you can't heat a whole home, heat a floor. If you can't heat a floor, heat a room. If you can't heat a room, heat a tent inside a room. If you can't do that, heat a sleeping bag. Whatever you can do, keep ready-to-eat food on hand. Granola bars, crackers, beef jerky, freeze-dried stuff that you just have to add water to, MREs, all of that's great. Have something you can eat that doesn't require you to step outside on the deck, let cold air in, and use your barbecue to cook. Have a way to make a tasty hot beverage. The longest power outage I was ever involved in was multiple days back when I was in my early 20s living in an apartment. When I went into my aunt's house and she had a wood stove with a pot of tea on it, there was nothing better. Now the final tip is one of my favorite. And that is use your car for everything. Use your car to stay warm. If you can't heat your home, hop in your car and let it run. If you can't charge your devices, turn your car on, plug your devices in, charge them up. If you don't have a radio in the home and you need information, hop in your car, listen to your radio for half an hour. If you don't have a generator, hook an inverter up to your battery, start your truck, and get power that way. Your vehicle is a lifesaver. I promised you I'd show you 10 pieces of gear that I absolutely love. So number one is a hand warmer. Now I have the Zippo rechargeable USB-C hand warmer. It's great. Put it in your pockets, go to a hockey game with it, put it down the inside of your sweater, put it under your blankets, whatever happens to be. Number two is a big buddy heater, or some way to heat the interior of your home. Now some people get rather nervous about propane and using it indoors. If you are, crack a little window. But honestly, have yourself a carbon monoxide detector just to make sure. These have been tested. They are good for indoor use. Moving blankets. Now, these are crazy cheap. Harbor Freight almost gives them away sometimes. I get them up here at Princess Auto in Canada. But either way, get some of these. These are great for in the summer when your power goes out and you need to wrap up your deep freeze. But they're even better in the winter if you need to cordon off certain areas of your home. Generators. I ain't picking one of those up to show you, but they're here. Now, do you have to have a generator? No, I'm going to talk about another option afterwards. But there's almost nothing better than creating your own power when the power goes out. Learn how to use it ahead of time. Teach your family how to use it. Power stations. These are great to have to supplement a generator, or if you can't afford a generator, but you have one of these, use one of these. They're great for keeping your devices charged up. They're great for running a few little USB lights. Camp stove. Now there's two ways to do this. You can buy those 1 pound propane tanks and hook it in, or you can get yourself an adapter like I have for the Big Buddy heater and run it off 20-pound propane tanks. It's a foldable toilet. This is something we actually used this summer. The town turned all of the sewer lines off for a day while they relined them, and we had to use these, and it worked great. If things get bad enough and your pipes freeze, you're not going to be able to flush your toilet. Next is RV antifreeze. If it gets as bad as it possibly could, hopefully it doesn't, and you either need to leave your home or you got to say, guess what? We can't keep the pipes from not freezing. Here's what you do. The first thing, you drain your water pipes. There's still going to be water in your toilets. There's still going to be water in your drain traps. So dump a couple of glugs of this down in your drain traps. Dump some of this down in your toilet. A radio. All you really need is a local radio that'll pick up AM and maybe FM. That's going to tell you how long the expected power outage is, what the weather's given, if there's going to be a break in it, where your local warming stations are. And finally is an inverter. If you have a vehicle that you can park close enough to your home, you have a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 generator sitting in your driveway. You hook this directly to the battery in your car, turn your car on, and then you can run an extension cord or two off of here. So whether you're here right now and you're facing the possibility of a dead of winter power outage, or if this is before winter hits and you're just trying to get prepared for the possibility, and you want to find a way to make sure that your home stays warm, check out the review video I did right here on the Big Buddy indoor propane heater. And if you stuck around until the end, then that means I'm doing something right. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and be prepared for a weekly dose of top quality content just like this. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.